All right. Hello, my fellow barbarians. It is me, Rock, and then always accompanying me with good old MDA.
What is up, everyone?
Uh, Not too much in news for the most part here. We got Java kit reveal from thinking from the last pod was pretty. We had a lot of stuff to talk about, but this one not too much. But got a couple things. Java kit reveal. We got the Hondo kit reveal, and then Cassian got an Omicron, and then we have the relic changes, and then the mod. What is it? The mod modifier? What is it? I can't remember the exact name
Yeah,
for it.
the changes to modding, like with the calibration,
Yeah, the mod calibrator.
and
Yeah,
kind
yeah,
of like the UI and all that, and then the relic changes.
yeah. So shouldn't be too much. I guess we can just go ahead and start with Java. That's the.
Yeah, so Jabba is now in the game. I think we got all of his requirements last game or last pod, but I don't think we had his kit. And it's also nice now because we've been able to see him in game for a bit. So just jumping right into it right now. Let's just get right to it with Jabba's kit here. So typical stuff. He's got 6 Zetas on the basic here. Jabba. Call the weakest other Hut Cartel ally to assist, dealing 10% more damage for each active Hut Cartel ally. Bounty Hunter and Smuggler allies gain protection up 10% for 2 turns, and during Jabba's turn, he inflicts blind on target enemy, gains 6% ultimate charge, and the weakest Hut Cartel ally recovers 30% protection. And Hut Cartel allies gain 30% protection up for 2 turns. His first special here: dispel all debuffs on all allies and inflicts speed down for 2 turns on all enemies. Other Bounty Hunter, Hut Cartel, and Smuggler allies gain Hired Muscle for 2 turns. And Hired Muscle is plus 30% tenacity, and they are immune to Daze and Fear. And they also will gain an additional roll based off the type of character that they are. Attackers will, once per turn, when another ally uses an ability, they will assist, dealing 70% less damage. Tanks become immune to critical hits, and healers and supports on attack, allies recover 10% health and protection. And whenever it expires, Bounty Hunters gain defense penetration up for 2 turns, Smugglers gain speed up, and Hut Cartel gain advantage. The super cool special that where SB Crumb goes and throws the thermal detonator. You dispel all buffs, deal special damage, and inflict buff immunity on target enemy for 2 turns, which cannot be dispelled. Inflict a thermal detonator on all enemies for 2 turns, and inflict an additional thermal detonator on all enemies for 2 turns for every 20% ultimate charge Jabba the Hutt has. Whenever a thermal detonator from this ability expires, all Bounty Hunter, Hut Cartel, and Smuggler allies gain 2% mastery until the end of the encounter, and this ability cannot be resisted. So, jumping into his lead here, which it is a lengthy lead as with most Galactic Legends. Bounty Hunter, Hut Cartel, and Smuggler allies have 30 speed, 30% mastery, and 30% max health. And the damage they receive, or Hut Cartel allies, the damage they receive is decreased by 30%. At the start of the battle, other Hut Cartel allies gain a stack of My Kind of Scum for each Bounty Hunter, Hut Cartel, and Smuggler ally until the end of the battle, which can't be copied, dispelled, or prevented. This is the buff that Gamorrean Guard and Bausch gets, and I believe the description is in their kits there. Jabba the Hutt is immune to taunt effects and can't be targeted while an ally with My Kind of Scum is present. Jabba the Hutt gains 3% ultimate charge whenever an ally with My Kind of Scum starts their turn or uses a special ability. And if an ally with My Kind of Scum defeats an enemy, Jabba the Hutt gains 6% ultimate charge. While enemies are inflicted with a thermal detonator, their health and protection recovery effects are reduced by 50%. At the start of each encounter, after the first encounter, Bounty Hunter, Hut Cartel, and Smuggler allies gain critical damage up, damage immunity, and offense up for 2 turns, which can't be copied, dispelled, or prevented. And now the contract that is active when Jabba the Hutt is in the lead. While buffed with My Kind of Scum, Deal damage with an attack to enemies with thermal detonators 20 times. Enemies must be debuffed with thermal detonators before the start of an attack to count progress. And the reward for the contract is that all Bounty Hunter allies have their payouts activated, and all Bounty Hunter, Hut Cartel, and Smuggler allies gain 25% defense penetration, offense, and potency, and allies with My Kind of Scum have plus 55% mastery for each stack, and recover 20% protection at the start of their turn, and during raids, the contract is fulfilled immediately at the start of the battle. His unique, which he actually has multiple uniques, more than the average Galactic Legends. At the start of the encounter, Hut Cartel allies have their cooldowns reset. So any territory battle wave, if you go into the next phase of a raid, cooldowns are going to reset. Bounty Hunter, Hut Cartel, and Smuggler allies are revived and recover 60% health and protection. Jabba the Hutt ignores taunt during his turn. At the start of his turn, he dispels stealth from all enemies. And whenever a Hut Cartel ally is stunned, it is dispelled and they gain offense up for 2 turns. If Jabba the Hutt is not in the allied leader slot, allies can't gain bonus turn meter. If he is in the allied leader slot, whenever an enemy with less than 100% turn meter gains bonus turn meter, Hut Cartel allies gain 7% turn meter, limit once per turn. And whenever a Hut Cartel ally loses turn meter, they gain bonus protection, 20% stacking, until the start of the next turn. He has his normal Galactic Legend unique, and then he also has the large character. So Jabba in-game is absolutely massive, and they had to change up the way that the characters are put in to the lineups to fit Jabba there, which is really cool. And Jabba's payout, he gains 40% mastery, and all of his ultimate charge gains are doubled for the rest of the battle. And for his ultimate ability, there will be no bargain, and it requires 100% ultimate charge to activate. He instantly defeats a target enemy, excluding raid bosses and GLs, and enemies defeated by this ability can't be revived. Bounty Hunter, Hut Cartel, and Smuggler allies recover 100% health and protection, and Hut Cartel allies gain 50% turn meter. On GLs, you dispel buffs, inflict armor shred until the end of the encounter, and deal true damage to target enemy, and stun other enemies for 1 turn, which can't be resisted. And on raid bosses, you deal true damage to target enemy equal to 30% of Jabba's max health 5 times, and stun all other enemies for 1 turn, which can't be resisted. And for this here, it does drop the target enemy into the Rancor den, and the Rancor eats them. So, now that we've had him in game for a bit, Rock, what is your thoughts on Jabba the Hutt and his impact that he's had on the game?
I'll be honest, I have not watched much on Jabba yet, but the one thing that got me in the kit, this was kind of interesting. They had the hired muscle immune to daze and fear. It made me wonder if they were testing it out and found that like Malgus could counter this easily. That was just my one thing I kept on thinking about. I don't know.
Yeah. No, I've watched a little bit of gameplay on him, and I think they did a really good job keeping him balanced in the meta. I think from what I've seen, he hard counters Jedi Master Kenobi with or without Tano. Lord Vader hard counters Jabba. I think with some Datacrons, I think with the Lando Datacron, I think you can beat Lord Vader, but I think that it is much harder to do. I think it really requires a bad Lord Vader team. I think Jabba can beat all the rest of the GLs, but it's more of a soft counter, and all the rest of the GLs can beat him. I'm gonna be honest, it looks good. The team, it looks really fun. He looks great for like territory battles. But I think they did a really good job making this like feel like Jabba, and with the way that the team interacts, I think this is a balanced GL that I think was a good addition to the game.
Yeah, I think they learned their mistake from JMK Cat and just like not making an absolutely like broken interaction.
Yeah.
Like it's like a lot of the stuff here is kind of like if you like if you're looking at it, you're like, oh, that's kind of broken, but you know, it kind of all balances itself out. Like there's something where they stack protection, which like even then, like that's not wasn't even that crazy. Oh, it's just bonus protection, not just stacking protection. Okay,
I
never mind.
think one of the things that like stood out to me is like, I was curious to see how Jabba was going to interact with the scoundrel and the bounty hunter tag. And it was interesting. He actually does not have the scoundrel tag. He has the Hut Cartel, Smuggler, Bounty Hunter, Dark Side, and Supports, but he does not have the Scoundrel tag. And I was curious to see with like Bounty Hunters how he would interact, or Smugglers and all that. But he pretty much just like you're gonna want to keep him with Hut Cartel, and it's nice because you get to I've seen Embo do some cool stuff. Boba Fett's always doing cool stuff. Greedo's doing, no cap Greedo's out here, doing some stuff. I think the biggest thing that I've seen is Embo is really taken off. But he's been good. I think he's going to be a good addition to the game. Nothing too, over the top, but I think it's one of those that you'll definitely be rewarded if you go for him. You're not going to be wishing that you invested in another faction.
Yeah. Also, just thinking about it in terms of like, what you have to put in to get it. Like, there's 2 R8s needed, or is it just 1 R8?
I
For the
believe
requirement?
it
I think it's
is.
just 1.
I think it's just one. It's R8 Han, and because like
Oh, and then isn't Boba Fett also R8, or is it? Or did they make
no,
him
he's
R8?
he's R7. Him and
That's right.
I think
Yeah.
Luke, C-3PO, and Boba Fett are all R7, and I think Fennec as well is R7.
Yeah, so it's it's a pretty accessible GL if you really think about it, other than the 3 marquees that just came out. But like it's and Jedi Knight Luke, I'll be honest, if you don't have Jedi Knight Luke, it's gonna be a pain to get him. But like I mean if you already have JML, you have like, you have like, 1/3 of the requirements done. And then, not too far from there. But then you also got I think they've done a very good job with the faction as a whole. Like they gave, uh Gamorrean Guard got an Omicron recently, I think. Or did he get a rework? I can't remember. I'm not keeping
He
up.
got
No,
a
it was
slight rework and then an Omicron as well.
that's right. And then Mob Enforcer got a rework. Um all I mean, you have a raid Omicron, it's pretty
I was really hoping Cad Bane was going to get a rework in it.
yeah,
I
it
am
looks like it's not
I'm
gonna
still
happen.
hoping that he gets an Omicron, but like I was really hoping Cad Bane would get a rework, but we'll still wait.
Yeah. Um but no, overall I like it. It's not, it's gonna be super balanced. Hmm. I just don't know what is going to be kind of like the non-GL counter because like all the GLs like have one where you can bring in like a non-GL to kind of counter it, but like I don't know. For me, I'm just not thinking about what could take this out non-GL wise.
I think I've seen Bad Batch can do it. Like Shock T with
Yeah,
Bad Batch
never
can
mind.
do it.
That makes sense.
But again, it's hard just because like so few people have him, and there's just no real way to test it. But I think he looks beatable, or like I guess we'll see. But I think Shock T Bad Batch was the first one that I saw.
That makes sense. I guess since it's on honestly with the theme, one of the questions we got was pretty interesting that I think since we're talking about Jabba, do you think we'll get Hut Cartel Assault Battle or a Hut Cartel Assault Battle?
I was thinking about that, and I don't think so. I think they're just going to keep it with Rebel Roundup, where it's just, imp troopers and bounty hunters. And I think that's just going to stay there. I mean, for all we know, they could give Hut Cartel one, but I think they're just going to, I think the Inquisitors were the only thing that's going to get a new assault battle. So I think it's just going to be just Rebel Roundup. I don't think they're going to make a new assault battle.
I'm kind of in the same boat. If you really think about it, like the assault battles are just like they're really like free gear. Like once you like relic everything up and you go ahead and you can 3-star everything. It's free gear. It's free gear, it's free relic mats, and just giving out another one, I just don't see that happening. Because I'm trying to because I think I'm trying to find there it is. Okay. I was looking for the event calendar, and I think we usually get like 4 a month. That's what I think it is. No, we don't. Yeah. Okay. Cool. They do 7 every month. So if you really think about it, if you can beat tier 1, then that's 70 of each Cairo.
70 of each Cairo. You're getting basically a full Zeta a month, just from that alone.
And then you get 5 of each finisher piece.
Yep.
And at some point, those finisher pieces, like, you just stack up on them. I think I have like 7, like I have like 40 of one of the finisher pieces, 400 of the finisher pieces. So like,
I can't think of the last time that I've actually had to farm a finisher piece.
Yeah, it's been at least 2 years for me.
Yeah.
And then just to keep with the trend, if you're able to go a whole year of getting the 70 each month, then you're getting 840 Kairos in a year, which is pretty much like that's enough Kairos for like Jedi Knight Luke. So like if they add, like, just think about them adding like another one and making it 80 a month times 12, that's 960. That's an extra like 120 a month a year. Like that's just too, I don't know. That just seems like they're giving up too much.
I think also just like Jabba already like speaks for himself, just A, with him being a galactic legend, but then 2, he's gonna have a specific territory battle node, and I don't see why they want to give extra incentive.
Yeah.
With that on top of that, and especially because like he looks like a good GL as well. I think we got the Hutt Cartel tag for like Galactic Challenges, and I'm assuming for Conquest as well. We might see some Hutt Cartel, but I think that's going to be it. And I will say the Hutt Cartel modifier is very enjoyable. It is so much easier than some of the other ones out there. You get some really cool benefits. Like, I think I saw like that most recent one that we had with like Hutt Cartel versus Jedi. I was seeing like Gear 7 characters and below beat it, just because like the team couldn't do AoEs, and as long as you could just kill Luke eventually, like you could win.
Crazy. All right. What's next? You want the Hondo or Cassian?
I was thinking we jump into we'll do Cassian.
Okay, yeah.
So, in honor of the Cassian Andor show, which I will not give any spoilers, I'm not going to talk about it. I will just say that the first 4 episodes are live, and the 5th episode should be premiering on Wednesday. So definitely go check it out. But they gave an Omicron for Cassian, and it is on his unique, which prior to the Omicron, at the start of each encounter, Rebel allies gain 20% protection up for 3 turns. Rebel attacker allies gain defense up for 3 turns. The Rebel support allies gain potency up for 3 turns, and Rebel tank allies gain tenacity up for 3 turns. And if K2SO is present, he gains all 3 of these. He gains all these buffs. This is a territory battle Omicron, and at the start of the battle, if all allies are Rogue One, Cassian Andor takes a bonus turn to disguise himself as an enemy character until the end of the battle. While disguised, Cassian retains his unique ability and alignment, and is part of the Rogue One faction, in addition to his disguise's alignment and faction. At the start of each encounter, all Rebel allies gain defense up, potency up, and tenacity up for 3 turns. And when Cassian uses an ability, he gains 12% turn meter for each debuffed enemy. He inflicts ability block and buff immunity for 1 turn, and defense down and healing immunity for 2 turns on target enemy. And K2SO is called to assist, dealing 97.8% more damage. Rock and I were actually watching some footage of this. Someone applied it, and they were doing it in Lightside Geo Phase 1. If you are in Hoth TB, Cassian will disguise himself as the Snow Trooper Ops, the Elite version, and in Lightside Geo, you actually become Wat Tambor, and you get access to all of Wat's tech. And this guy went 4 out of 4 with the Profundity Rex, so it was an R9 Radis, R8 Cassian, which became Wat, an R5 Jin, and then Gear 12 Chirrut and Baze, and it went 4 out of 4 with Kalani as the boss. What'd you think of Cassian's Omicron?
I think it's weird that he turns into Watt. Like that just like looking at that, just like threw me for a this little curve, and I was like, I was looking at it and I was like, it just looks weird. Like you're on Lightside Geo and you're seeing Wat Tambor.
Yeah.
Like that took a little while to get used to, but I don't know. I thought it was pretty cool that I don't know how useful it's going to be yet, but considering the video I saw, he got 4 out of 4 with the profundity requirements and then 2 Gear 12s. Like that's pretty good. Like I'm not, I just kind of wish it would have like kept Cassian. You know what I mean? Like I don't know. It just seems weird to just
Right. Yeah, it's not quite as thematic,
Yeah. What I wish it would have done was just like made him into like, this. But it does kind of make sense since he's kind of a spy or whatever. But that was my one big gripe. But I just wonder what I also kind of wonder if they're gonna do any like, what's that faction? Rogue One. Any like Rogue One stuff in the new TV?
There's probably a good chance, or like possibly a Rebel mission, a Rogue One mission, especially with the new TB being just like how it's centered with the starting, the Empire coming up. I think there's a good chance. I don't know if they're gonna do missions that like specifically require Omicrons, but we'll see how it goes. But I think this one's definitely really cool, really thematic. I think definitely like once we've seen this or we've kind of done this for enough kind of waves and times, we'll find some optimal teams and leads and team compositions. I think this definitely like so he's gaining 12% turn meter on for each time he uses an ability. That's 5. That's 60% turn meter whenever he uses an ability. And I don't know. I think this definitely like encourages more people to. I've really liked what they've done with Omicrons since like bringing them in. They've done a good job of just like bringing up characters that otherwise were not being used, like Wampa, Fulcrum, Savage. I think like Cassian here. We've seen like Rogue One with Jin's got a TW Omicron. Radis has a GAC Omicron. All of a sudden now, like on top of not even taking in the profundity into account, we were seeing a team that like I would say up until the beginning of this year or like when Radis was released, nobody had Rogue One geared up. Like you possibly had them geared up if you were doing Lightside Hoth and you needed to do the special and you needed to do the combat mission, and then if you ran Rebels, you might have had them farmed up, but even still, you probably didn't have them geared that high because you're just using it for the reinforcement ability. And all of a sudden now, like you're taking a team that was virtually like non-existent, and they're now like maybe not a meta team, but like they're like Geo or Night Sister level. Like I mean, they're a team, and
yeah, they're usable.
Yeah, they're usable, and especially like. If you go and if all it takes is just a couple of Omicrons, like you can run this team in GAC, you can run this in TB, TW. Like I mean, I've really liked what they've done with Omicrons and kind of breathing life into factions.
Yeah, that's kind of been my one like upside with Omicrons is like like Rogue One's a perfect example. Like you sit there and you're like, well, maybe I'm not the biggest fan of TB. I don't need all those. I don't need another team for light side, so I'll just skip the TB one. But like now you can use it. You can put the one on Jin for territorial war. Now you got another territorial war team you can throw on defense, or you can use to take something out. And then, from what I hear, the GAC one with Radis is pretty good. It takes out some stuff. It's pretty solid. So, but
Yeah.
that has been my thing is taking just unused characters or factions, and it's not meta breaking, because if they were able to do this in all parts of the game, then really wouldn't be too fun. But like now, you can gives you some like I don't feel bad having to bring Qui-Gon Jinn to Relic 3. That's my take.
Yes. So I say let's jump into the big news this weekend. We were told on Friday that there was going to be a new Crumb puzzle. And let me tell you, this was one of his best puzzles. It took about almost a full day. I think it was around I'm on Eastern time. It was it was noon my time, and it started at 8 p.m. my time. So it was a good 16 hours.
Well, it didn't start at 8 p.m. It started more at 8:30, because they opened up the puzzle by giving Cubs fan Han a puzzle, and
a physical puzzle,
and an actual puzzle. But instead of Cubs Cubs got on late. He got on at around 8:15, and then proceeded to stall for another 30 minutes. So it's 8:45 by the time he actually opens up the puzzle, and then by about 9 he actually shows us the full puzzle. So it took us an hour from when it was supposed to start for us to actually start figuring things out.
And for those of you who have not seen a Crumb puzzle, I like to consider myself a smart guy. I took advanced calculus in college. I'm good with numbers. I do a lot of stuff. Rock, you're in college too. These things are hard. I have no idea how any of these people come up with how to solve these puzzles, or how Crumb the mad genius himself comes up with this to do all these different things. It was to the point where the final clue in the puzzle was they had to print out these codes and put them on a certain size rod, and then use that to figure out the code for the answer. And I believe it was a bit.ly link. Really crazy puzzle. But anyways, long story short, it was a cool opportunity if you were there, but the solution, or the fruits of the puzzle, was that Hondo was announced as one of 4 marquees that are going to be needed to unlock. They haven't confirmed what type of events, but for simplicity's sake, it is a Starkiller Legacy of type event for Dr. Aphra. For those of you who do not know, she is a very popular character in the comic world. Has been featured in her own comic series and the Darth Vader comic series. Very, very cool, very much anticipated character coming, as well as Hondo. And with Hondo coming in, he is the first of neutral characters. Just real quick before we get into Hondo's kits, what is your thoughts on both Hondo and Dr. Aphra coming to the game?
Happy Hondo's in the game. I'm a bit upset he's a marquee, though. I was hoping for Hondo GL, and then I kind of wish they would have flopped the two. I wish they would have done Hondo as the big catch-all kind of thing, the gimme, the Starkiller-esque, and then Aphra as the marquee. That's my one gripe, but I don't know. I don't care. It's new characters, new content.
See, I'm flip-flopped. I've always seen Hondo as a marquee, and even when I look at his kit, to me, I think they nailed his kit And I don't see how much better they could have made him to justify him being like a legendary character without making him just like too over the top broken. And I also personally think Afra has a much bigger following or a much bigger impact than Hondo's had. But it's been pretty split. I know a lot of people wanted to see Hondo as the legendary, but also a lot of people are also very happy that it's Afra. But put it this way, for anyone who is a huge fan of Hondo, you don't have to relic up 4 characters to acquire this character. Now it has not been confirmed if you need to relic them, but judging off the past with the Grand Inquisitor and with Starkiller, I think we can all assume that it's going to be 4 characters at Relic 5. But for those of you who are excited to play with Hondo, he is going to be coming this week, I believe. Wednesday, he should be in the game. His marquee event should be up, and you are not forced to relic up any other character in order to use him. So without further ado, let's jump into Hondo's kit here. Looking at it here, he is a neutral, scoundrel, and a smuggler, and I believe they did confirm he is going to be a support. So the first neutral character coming to the game, and he will have a Grand Arena Omicron. So, on the basic, I smell profits. Deal special damage to target enemy. Gain 1 stack of ransom, max of 50, for the rest of the encounter, which can't be copied or dispelled. If the enemy is light side, Hondo removes 10% turn meter from them. And if the enemy is dark side, he gains 10% turn meter. Ransom will give Hondo plus 2% max health and tenacity. His special number 1, I don't want to kill you per se. Remove 20% turn meter from all enemies. Hondo gains outmaneuver for 2 turns, which can't be copied. And inflict captive on target enemy, excluding GLs, and which can't be copied, dispelled, evaded, prevented, or resisted until the start of Hondo's second turn. And I believe that is second turn from that ability. So he'll take, after he takes his second turn after he uses this ability, he captive will go away. Or we'll see when it comes in game. But so until the start of Hondo's second turn, enemies gain 25 buffs or Hondo is defeated. Whenever captive expires, Hondo gains 10 stacks of ransom. Captive speed is set to 0. They cannot bonus attack or gain bonus turn meter. And captive on a raid boss is minus 30% critical damage, defense and offense. And outmaneuver is the Falcon buff. It is plus 25% evasion and can't be countered and can't be targeted if other allies are present unless Hondo is taunting. His special number 2, Insolence. We are pirates. Dispel all debuffs on all scoundrels. Call target ally to attack, then Hondo assists. If the target ally is light side, they gain 25% damage and defense penetration for this attack. And if target ally is dark side, they gain 25% crit chance and crit damage for this attack. Hondo gains defense up for 2 turns and 2% offense per stack of ransom for the rest of the encounter. And if Hondo has at least 5 stacks of ransom, dark side enemies are inflicted with ability block for 1 turn, which can't be evaded or resisted. And light side enemies are inflicted with buff immunity for 1 turn, which can't be evaded or resisted. If Hondo has at least 25 stacks of ransom, increase cooldowns of all enemies by 1. Hondo does not have a leader ability. He has 2 uniques. Unique number 1, that's just good business. Hondo has 100% health steal. Whenever Hondo evades an attack, he gains 1 stack of ransom. If a captive enemy is defeated and Hondo does not have at least 10 stacks of ransom, he will flee from the battle, which I think is just like the most captures the essence of Hondo. Like if a solution's not profitable, he's out of here. Hondo gains bonuses based on the amount of stacks of ransom. If he has at least 5 stacks, add exposed to the target enemy for 1 turn and foresight for 1 turn on his basic ability. At least 10 stacks, he is immune to critical hits. At 15 stacks, he recovers 25% health at the start of his turn. And at 20 stacks, Hondo recovers 25% protection at the start of his turn. If there is an enemy with the captive debuff, at the start of his turn, Hondo gains 10% crit chance, crit damage, and defense penetration, stacking to a max of 100%, and 3 speed stacking to a max of 30 for the rest of the encounter. And his unique number 2, while in Grand Arena, Hondo starts the encounter with 25% turn meter per other scoundrel or smuggler ally. And if there is an enemy with the captive debuff, he at the start of his turn, Hondo gains 20% crit chance, crit damage, and defense penetration, stacking to a max of 200%, and 6 speed, stacking to a max of 60 for the rest of the encounter. Now, again, this... that is his Omicron for this unique number 1. So I'm sure this will look a little bit different once it's in game, but that is his Grand Arena Omicron. Basically, as long as you're with a whole team of scoundrels or smugglers, Hondo will be one of the fastest characters in the game. And unique number 2, I guess we won't be friends. Whenever any character gains bonus turn meter, Hondo gains 5% turn meter once per round. Whenever any character gains a buff, Hondo recovers 5% protection. Whenever any character assists, Hondo gains 5% protection up, stacking for 1 turn. And if Hondo had at least 2 other allies at the start of the encounter and is the only character remaining on his side of the field, Hondo gains 100% turn meter and 35% counter chance, defense, evasion, offense, potency, and tenacity for the rest of the encounter. Man, what a kit.
There's a lot going on here.
Now, real quick before we go, this was not officially revealed by CG. This was on the Escape podcast. Some of these things might be subject to change. So if anything is different from when you heard it today and when the kit is released tomorrow, that is why. Anyways, Rock, what is your thoughts here on Hondo?
I love how captive his speed is set to 0. So does that mean that they just don't take a turn at all? It's essentially like, stunning them forever.
Yeah, it's like how Fracture works, because like Fracture sets the speed to 0, or like actually, no, I'm sorry, it removes turn meter and then it sets their speed to 0. So basically, like since their speed's at 0 and they can't gain turn meter, they just stay there and they don't do anything. They can't attack. They're just stuck.
Can't bonus attack either. I mean, yeah, that's pretty good. I do also like how, what's the special where, if a captive enemy is defeated and Hondo does not have at least 10 stacks of ransom, he will flee. So it's one of those things where like you can't just like go into a battle and just like throw it on auto because, you might be in Grand Arena and you look at it and you're like, oh, hey, I've just, lost Hondo because I decided to throw it on auto because of, my own doing. So that's pretty balanced, if you're going to sit there and basically give someone like, a stun that's, not really a stun, but, just you're essentially stunning them and then they can't gain turn meter. So, it's pretty balanced to like, have it to where, Hondo can like just leave the battle. You can just lose somebody without, having to deal damage to them. It's pretty interesting.
I think it's going to be cool just seeing like the longer, like the more ransom that he gets, and especially like if he's the last one left, like it is so hard. Like as we've seen, like I think they just did such a good job like incorporating, canon into this. Like Hondo is just like such a slippery kind of guy, and he never was really got caught. He always kind of had some sort of, card up his sleeve. I mean, shoot, like expose foresight, immune to critical hits, health and protection recovery. He's going to gain all this damage and evasion, defense. I mean, like he's going to
gain, crit damage, defense penetration, and speed.
He's getting turn meter whenever another team's getting turn meter.
Yes.
I think this is going to be like, and especially with the Grand Arena Omicron, like I was, and when I was going over the kit, so just to put into perspective, like of the characters that will go first, Han always goes first, because it's Han. Then it's Watts. Then, as long as you have a team of all scoundrels or smugglers, the only other character that will go before Hondo will be Aiden. and that is only if Aiden is faster than Hondo. If Hondo is faster than Aiden, then Hondo will go first. However, if a team prevents turn meter gain, so like Hux with the Zeta or Jedi Master Kenobi, this won't work. But for any other team, Hondo's going to be one of the fastest characters in the game, and he's going to be able to make a character just turn one just stuck.
That's crazy. So he can essentially, like, I'm just spitballing, like, you go up against M troopers, and turn one he's gonna go, and then you know captive on Moff Gideon, and then that's pretty much the battle. There's nothing else that's whatever else you have. It's just gonna be slowly taking out the rest of them.
Yeah. I think this is going to be, I think I'm getting the same vibes. I'm getting a lot of the same vibes from this character, and I think from the Aphra events that these Star Killer characters had. Like,
yeah,
I think like a lot of these factions, and we had a podcast question about, the other characters that are coming, and we'll get into that in a second. But I think like each character is going to have some sort of like lifting ability, and I think while there is some smuggler stuff, I think this is going to be more with scoundrels, and I think this is just going to be like the huge like facelift for scoundrels that they needed. And what I was getting at earlier, I don't know what you would add to this kit to make it any more of a legendary or worthy of like relicking 4 characters to get. Like for a marquee, this is really good. But I'm really excited to see the synergy suggestion had him running with Bam. I think you could easily see him run with Dash. I think with Kira. I'm trying to think. There's not many scoundrel leaders. I mean, I could see it on like certain bounty hunter teams. I could see Hondo be brought in. I think he's just going to be super plug and play of like where he's going to be.
He kind of almost reminds me of like Cam in a way, where like he doesn't have like a leader ability, but like his unique and his abilities are going to be leader-esque, where like he's going to do like a lot for scoundrels. He's just not going to be a leader. So
right.
he will be kind of like a plug and play like scoundrel. I could see it with Bam lead, because Bam's going to gain a ton of turn meter anytime he gets hit, so Hondo's going to gain turn meter.
Shoot, when any character gains bonus turn meter, whenever you damage someone, because on Bam Zeta lead, whenever you deal damage, you gain turn meter. So Hondo is going to automatically gain, because you gain 2% turn meter whenever you damage someone. Hondo is gaining 7% turn meter every time an ally is dealing damage, and if the opposing team is gaining turn meter, Hondo's gaining turn meter as well. Like, man,
he's just going to be taking turns after turn. He's just going to be moving.
Yeah.
And like at first, looking at like his cooldowns, so like the first special is a 6-turn cooldown. And then the second special is a 4-turn cooldown. But he's going to be taking so many turns that like that 4-turn cooldown is going to feel like 2.
Yeah.
Because he's just going to be moving.
I'm really excited to see here, like, what other characters are going to be coming, and especially to see Hondo in game. But let's jump into our questions here. So we've got one from Genjo. Let's see here. Actually, I want to do, before we hop into Genjo's question, let's talk about who are the other characters that you think are going to come with the Aphra events, the other 3 characters.
I have no idea, because like with Starkiller, they did like a weird mix. They did like Mara Jade's featured in a couple of books, a couple of the Thrawn books. Dash was in like a video game from like the 90s, if I remember right. Yeah, that's right. And then I don't. Talon is shoot, I forget where Talon
I
comes from. She comes from the
believe
MMO, right?
I believe comics. I believe because I know which like
Yeah, that's
she has a thing with Darth Crate, and that's her
okay.
thing.
And then who's the last? Kyle Katarn. He. I think Kyle Katarn's the
He
one with
was
the video game.
yeah, he was the Jedi Knight game.
Yes, that's right. That's right. That's right. Thank you, Obi. I forget where they're all at, but like it's like they didn't like pick a theme with them. They just said, some of them are in video games, some are in comics, some are in some books,
I
some are in a
bel I
combination.
believe the theme was it was Legends characters because Starkiller's a
Yeah,
Legends character.
but like with this one, they just went with a Clone Wars. I don't know if Hondo's in comics or not. He might be, but like the only thing I know Hondo's in is the Clone Wars and then Rebels. So if that's the trend they're going with, then we could see some random like clone, like like probably like sorry, uh, but if they're going with the trend of like comic book, not comic book, but like sorry, uh, like Clone Wars or like Rebels or like TV shows or whatnot, like it'd be cool because like a lot of people have been asking for like some of like the clone like leaders like Commander Green or Fox, um, Wolf. That's one of the other ones. Like some of those guys, like it'd be kind of cool just to get like some of those standalone clones that But I don't know. I just don't know what direction they're gonna go with in terms of characters. And then the comics is like way out of my league. I've never read a single Star Wars comic. You can crucify me if you want, but is what it is.
I think, and this is my 2 cents here. I think there's I don't think Hondo's going to be the only exclusive neutral character. I think all 5 characters, including Afra, are going to be neutral characters. Um, so I think Hondo's going to be the first one. I think Saw Gerrera is going to be. I think we get Saw here as a marquee. Saw is going to be the neutral rebel, and I think he's going to be. I think like in addition to like possibly like with like a secondary rebel fighter lead, I could see that. I think this would have been the perfect place to bring Iden in, but they just released Iden when they did. I think it's all going to be canon characters, and I'm not sure who the other two will be. I think there's a lot of people are saying 000 and BT1. For those who don't know, those are the droids that are with Afra in the Doctor Afra comic series, and they're basically like HK-47-esque kind of droids. They kill people. You don't really take them seriously because they're a protocol droid and a R2-esque kind of droids. I could see them, but I could also see them introducing them later as marquees, not tied to the events. But I'm not quite sure. But I definitely think all characters are going to be neutral, and I think it's going to be 4 neutral characters, and I think that will take us into Genjo's question here. Let's see here. What do we think Afra's tags and affiliations will be? What are some ideas of what teams she'll run in, and what characters do you think will be needed for her synergies with Vader? So, you got anything? I know you said you didn't have the biggest knowledge of Dr. Afra coming in. So, do you have anything for Genjo's question?
Okay, no, but I did talk to a friend of mine who read a lot of the comics and stuff, and I went and I asked him just about her, and from what he told me, apparently he like don't like use me as someone that quote lore or whatever, but like apparently Dr. Alpha like tried to like kill Vader at one point, and then like I don't know, she was like all over the place, like you couldn't really tell where like her loyalty stood because like she would like go from like capturing Vader to like being like, oh yeah, I'm back with the Empire now, and like she captured like the Phoenix Squad at some point. Like I like it was too much to keep up with. But like my if like what he was telling me was true, my like perfect ideal would be like kind of do what they did with Starkiller and like make it to where like it's it's a lead of broken up squads where you got like with Starkiller you got like Jedi, you got some unaligned Force users, you got some Sith and stuff like that. But it'd be cool if like she kind of splits it and is kind of Empire and then like Rebel or like Empire and Scoundrel or something like that. Like something cool like that. Like that would be my envisioning. That would, I don't know. That's what I would think would be cool. Wouldn't be practical, but it'd just be cool.
I think, and what I see happening is, I think Aphra takes over as the go-to Scoundrel lead. I think Bam has been that for the longest time. I think Bam's kind of been the predominant Scoundrel lead, but other than like bounty hunter teams, I think Dash has had some love there, but Dash is mainly with the prepared smuggler team, because you can run Scoundrels with Dash, but it doesn't really benefit. It's mainly for the prepared team. I think Aphra is going to be the new Scoundrel lead. With regards to synergy with Vader, I don't think we're going to have any like direct synergy where it calls out Vader like how Piet does. But I think it's going to be kind of like how Starkiller was, where like there's like loose synergy where like every time a Sith uses a basic, Starkiller would assist. I think we see something like that, or like damage over time synergy. So like if you ran Vader lead, something in her unique would like benefit from damage over times or something like that. I think she's going to work with a lot of different teams, and I think we might even see some Starkiller-esque kind of stuff where like, because I think she's going to have the neutral tag as well, you're going to be able to run her with a lot of different people. We might see like characters like Farm Boy Luke, Enfys Nest, maybe some of these characters that don't have homes, don't have real leads, can come run in a Dr. Aphra team. I don't know. I think she's definitely going to have... She's going to be a new like Starkiller, Grand Inquisitor, Malgus-esque kind of impact in one specific mode. I'm not sure if that's going to be Territory Wars or Grand Arena, but she's definitely going to be really important. But I see her taking over as like the new end-all be-all Scoundrel lead. That's kind of my take for what I expect from Aphra. But we'll see. I think for tags, I think it'll be neutral. I think they'll probably give... I'm not sure if she'll get the support tag or if she'll get the attacker tag, but I could see either one of those two. And Obi, you can correct me here. She'll for sure get the Scoundrel tag. I don't think she'll get the Smuggler tag, but I could be wrong. I don't think she's going to get the Smuggler tag. I think the Scoundrel tag, and I think that's it. I don't think she's going to get Empire or anything like that. I think just neutral, but we'll see. I think it's going to be a similar cadence to how like the Starkiller characters were released like every couple weeks. I think we'll get the other characters, and then the events will come. But yeah, that is Hondo and Dr. Aphra. So what else did we want to touch on here?
We got Lorian's question, but also I wanted to a possible requirement or whatever, since you kind of went on the theme of just like neutral characters. I would honestly wonder if like we could get like an Asajj bounty hunter, because I mean it's not really that important, but like it'd be kind of cool to get it, and that's kind of the most like neutral thing that I can think of.
Especially since they already have her model in the game too. They used it in that one Conquest, because we know CG likes to reuse assets like that. I could definitely see. I also heard a Chancellor Palpatine. As like especially because they have his model for the Lord Vader event. I've heard Palpatine as like Because I think the Galactic Republic really needs another. They have JMK, but JMK is pretty much like, honestly, it's just the Padme crew just put in with JMK. And I think
Yeah.
there's a lot of like other characters that I think could be made better. I could see Chancellor Palpatine, and especially like giving him the neutral tag as well.
Yeah, because that is one thing that sucks is like the Galactic Republic faction's pretty big, especially when like you got with like JMK, like Ayla just kind of like goes to the side. Clone Sergeant and Cody kind of go to the side. Like even R2, like a lot of people like running R2 with like JTR, but like you still get R2 that's pretty good. And like I've always said this, I've always wished they like brought back another like Galactic Republic, kind of like either like a new lead or someone kind of like Hondo where like they don't have a lead, but like
Because like I know like a lot of people have been asking for like Padme, just ever since they took all of Padme's characters. Like imagine this, they did like Chancellor Palpatine with a Territory War Omicron that like is the same effect as Qui-Gon. So like in Grand Arena, Qui-Gon will take Jedi Knight Anakin, but obviously like Jedi Knight Anakin's got to be with Chancellor Palpatine here, just lore wise. So you could do like a Padme lead, Chancellor Palpatine, or maybe even shoot like Chancellor Palpatine has a lead. He was the Chancellor and all that. But I could see something like that just to like make Padme relevant and like keep Padme as the lead or something, or shoot just her unique or whatever. I could see something like that.
that would be my I would like that too. But real quick, let's touch on Lorian's question real quick, and then I guess we
Yes.
can go to what we had after that.
So here we go. CG stopped advertising the Hyperdrive bundle. What would you like to see in the next version, and any other way CG can make the game more new player friendly? So I'm not sure if he's saying like a new, like the new version, like an updated version of the Hyperdrive bundle, or like a new pack. Like what do you want to go with here is like what he means by that.
Let's say like Hyperdrive 2.0. Let's say like whenever I was reading, I was thinking that maybe let's say CG offers like a $200 Hyperdrive bundle, and essentially it is everything in the $100 bundle, but they add in extra stuff.
Okay, so I have an idea here for what they could do. I think they need to give a facelift to the characters offered. I actually think I bought the Hyperdrive bundle. I think it's still one of the best deals out there. I think they should keep like all the gear that's there, all of the like character shards and all that. But I think that it should be like they need to give a facelift to some of the characters, like include the Inquisitors, include some of these other characters. Like, and again, just put them at 5 stars. Like include a couple of the Inquisitors, or include a couple of these newer characters that have come to the game, just so you have those characters there for buying the Hyperdrive bundle. I think you do get 1 Zeta. If I'm correct, you get 1 Zeta.
Yeah, you get 20.
I think you should also get 20. I think you should get an Omicron as well. And I think the idea is that like they start you off with a Zeta, an Omicron. They give you some like gear, relic materials, and all that, and like you can choose which way you want to go. And it basically just allows you just to cut the line. You get this, and you can just jump right in. I think they also should include. Again, it's been so long since I bought it. Do they include mods in it, or is it just like generic mods in it?
I'm actually looking at it right now. You get no mods, and it's actually 10 Zetas, not 20. So you get half a Zeta.
See, so I think what they should do is bump that up to a full Zeta, full Omicron, and just like some mods, and whatever you get is whatever you get. And like that's what you start off with. And again, if you want to bump that up to $150, $120, or keep it at $100, I still think that's like a hell of a deal. Especially everything considered with CG. But what are your thoughts here on like what they would do, or what they should do?
If you look at like how the game is right now, essentially it is have a GL. You have to have one GL to like participate in a lot of stuff. Like light side Geo, you pretty much have to have one of the three, or I have to have one of the three light side GLs to really even do some damage. CPIT, you pretty much have to have a GL. Conquest, you got to have a GL, unless you don't have to, but you're going to put yourself through a lot of pain and suffering. But I do think like with the hyperdrive bundle now, really all it sets you up for is like Palpatine, Grandmaster Yoda, Thrawn, R2, and then like CLS, and that's about all it sets you up for. Like what I wish they would do is kind of keep a lot of the characters at 5-star, but like a lot of these that like BAM, just throw the BAM crew at 5-star. Throw, JTR's requirements at 5-star. Let me see who else. Throw some of the separatists in there to get Padme unlocked. Even throw in Bastila Shan Fallen, not Bastila Shan Fallen, but just regular Bastila Shan. Just get a lot of these like tier 1 to 4 characters that you can just get really quick, so that way you can start focusing on a GL. Because that's just kind of like the new player struggle is you pretty much have to get everything else unlocked, get gas, and then now you have to start farming for a GL. But I think a lot of that like pressure would be alleviated if like they would just give you a lot of the characters off the bat. But if they did that, I think the price should be way more than $200, because essentially you'd be skipping like a year's playtime for all this stuff. That would be my take. Is give someone a pack in the point to where they're able to set themselves up to start farming for a GL.
Yeah, no, that's not a bad idea. I wanted to touch on Lorian's idea here. So he said, what would you do to like kind of help with the early game, or what would you do for like the new player experience? What did you have anything that comes to mind?
Honestly, with the new like gear changes and the mod changes, like it's a little bit easier on newer players, but like even then, like I would just say like I don't know. There's not really like one thing they can do, because like if they added in like more gear you could get, then that means that's more gear going to everybody else. You add in, the mod changes not only affected, newer players, it affected us too. I'm at the point now where, I'm slicing twice the mods every week. I just don't know if there's like one specific thing they can do, but that won't affect. It could be just something like double XP for like certain nodes, or like maybe they just double XP in general, because that's not going to affect us. We're already level 85. I don't know. That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, I think just then the whole like getting to level 85, I don't think should take that long. I think it should maybe be a little shorter.
Yeah.
But then again, it's like such a long time ago that I was a new player though. But I think just you want people interacting with your game as quickly as possible. So maybe look if there's ways to short that. But what I was thinking was, and I think they've already started to do this, and this is especially with the like Omicron changes or the reworks, is I think they've done a good job of making some of these older factions more relevant. And also with the amount of new GLs and new legendaries that they're adding, you're not punished for not farming the meta faction. You can pick a lane that you want to go down, and because again, at the end of the day, this is a hero collector game, and it's about just collecting everything or collecting the things you want to collect. And for the longest time, it was always just like chase the meta, and it's always about just you're chasing the meta. But I think they've done a good job now to where like it is not just like gotta go Phoenix, gotta go Thrawn, gotta go this. You can now go like I know Glermit was doing it for the longest time before Glermit decided to die. Not literally, metaphorically. Um, he was farming Starkiller right out the gate, and I think that there's a legitimate argument that like Starkiller could be a realistic character to go for day one. Um, you go for Inquisitors day one. You go for Scoundrels day one. Like you do some of these things as opposed to like going for Phoenix or going for Separatists or rushing a GL, like going First Order, going Resistance, or going Sith Eternal. I think they've done a good job of like making new paths for that. I think my one change, and I highlighted this. If you guys don't subscribe to me on YouTube at The Optimist, I put out videos, every once in a while. All of the live streams are put there, or these podcasts are put after on my YouTube channel, Jer. I talked about what CG can do with Conquest to really make it a more, I think, a more liked experience. I personally like Conquest a lot, but I think there's some changes they can make. Let's just get rid of the GP gate for Conquest, like in terms of hard mode or for Proving Grounds. Like, let's just get rid of it. Like, I don't like for Proving Grounds. You can still keep the event hard as shit, but like, if someone wants to go like whale the crystals to go get these characters and unlock them in, I think it's a minimum of like a couple months. Let them whale and do that. Like, there's I don't see the issue with doing that. These characters take a year for them to go from like here to unlock, or from like, when they're brought in to then when they go into Proving Grounds. Just let people whale on these characters. And also, if people like, again, I think there maybe should be, or like lower the GP, like the GP entry, because like, we have guilds doing Lightside Geo that probably have no business doing Lightside Geo. But again, if you're up for the challenge, you should be able to do it. So I think just get rid of the GP gate for things. Relic gates are going to be what it is. That's unfortunately, I think it's a necessary evil. I know one of the biggest complaints is that like, why did we set relics behind Starkiller and the Grand Inquisitor? And the problem with that is that like, we had a character like Bam come in where all you needed was basically 7-star characters. And I mean, shoot, a lot of the people in this community still think he sucks. And the game has just grown too quickly to where like a character only requiring this just is not going to be able to be effective. They can't put out a super busted character only requiring 7-star characters. So that's kind of my only thing in terms of like replicating, but I think like GP gating, just stop that. Like if someone wants to do it, let them do it. But do you got anything else here for early game?
Nah, not really. I'll just say a good general like rule of thumb is, work on all those characters that are in assault battles. So like M Troopers, I would focus those early. CLS, I would focus it early. Just being able to like get a lot of, even if you don't get them high enough to get like tier 1, tier 2 or 3 done, just get tier 1 done. You'll get tons of Kairos. You'll more than, double your investment for the majority of the time while you're playing, because this game is a grind. It's, for the most part, I mean, how long have you been playing? Close to like 3 years now? What, if that?
Oh man, it was right when I joined. Like I was doing some stuff off and on, but pretty much when I joined Returns was when I was kind of playing, actually playing. I would say it's been about maybe coming on 3 years, like 2 to 3 years. Yeah, I would say about 2 to 3 years.
I joined Returns my freshman year of college in 2018. That's almost 5 years now. I actually joined in September, so this is officially it's officially 4 years I've been playing back again. Like I mean, like just think of like I already did the numbers for the Kairos. It's well, it would have actually been 720, because we didn't have the Inquisitor one, so that's like 720 Kairos every year. Times that by 4, that's 28,000, 2,800. something like that. If I got to tier 1, that's enough for a GL right there. You know, stuff like that adds up.
So we've been going for a little bit here, and I think this is a good place to slowly start to wrap up the podcast here. But I know what everyone is dying to know.
Yeah.
What have you been farming?
JML gear. I got them unlocked the other day, and I realized that I spent all my gear gearing up everything else. And it's weird, and it was the weird stuff that I needed. Like, for some reason, he wants a lot of those, like, blue thermal detonators. And I had, like, 0 to my name, and you needed, like, I think he needs, like, 200 on their own. So I, like, literally were just farming those for, like, a couple days. I got him to gear 12, and really what's holding me back is the med packs. It's just med packs, and then some data pad or something like that. But it's not too much. I have him needing to get done, and then once he's I think I have enough to bring him to Relic 5. I just need to get him high enough to be able to do the ultimate, farm the ultimate, and then be on my day. I really don't know what my next project is, to be honest. I know I want to get the Maul Mandos up and running at some point. And I was looking at it, and for the most part, all my Mandalorians are 7-star besides armor. And she has bays on her node. And so I might farm her just to get, some bays at the same time, And then shouldn't be too bad. But I'm kind of thinking about just, trying to finish up a couple teams. I have M troopers where, the full team is like gear 12, and then my only relics on the team are like Piet and Dark Trooper. Yeah, Dark Trooper. So I just want to, finish them up, finish up, GG droids, because I've had B2 at, gear 12 forever now. So finish up a couple of them, and then I don't know what I'm going to go next. I might go Star Killer. I might go, whatever Alpha is. That I might go for that. Shoot, I might even just say YOLO and go for Java. Another GL, something like that. I don't know. That's it for me. What you got?
So I completed my goal. I wanted to have Sith Eternal farmed and have his ultimate by the end of September, and I did. He is Relic 8 ultimate, and this next month I get to use his level 9 Datacron, and let me tell you, it is so much fun. It is so much fun. I have the level 9 one where he starts with ultimate charge percentage for each Sith, and I'm in arena right now, just like turn 2, activating my ultimate, and then just insta-killing like Cat and GK, and it is so much fun. C is great. I gave Savage his Omicron, and I took him to Relic 5, but I just had him for this GAC at Gear 12. And let me tell you, even at Gear 12, homie is a tank. I had him with Darth Maul and Savage, and that team was a lot of fun. So I have Savage there at Relic 5 now. I'm working on the rest of my Sith that I'm going to run with C. I'm a bit of a traditionalist. I know I'll probably end up doing stuff with like C Watt or like C Armor and all that, but I don't know. I just like running them with Sith. I think it's fun. So I'm gearing up my trio. I just took Scion to Relic 4, and then with Conquest and all that, I'll take him up to Relic 5. Treya and Nihilus are going to Relic 5 as well, and then I'm farming Talon to run in that team, or just to have Talon will go to Relic 5. And then after that, I got to do GG droids, so I'm going to go get that team up and geared and relics. And then to end the year, all while I'm doing all this gear, I am farming Inquisitors. So my second sister, I believe, is like 14 out of 100 right now. I really did a lot of work when I was farming the dark side tickets. I was farming 7th Sister and 2nd Sister. Since they're both 12 energy dark side hard nodes, I was just spamming refreshes to like get tickets that way. So I believe we should be seeing the Grand Inquisitor events this week or the week after, and then it'll be there for a week, and then Christmas time we should be seeing it come back again. So my goal is to have all my Inquisitors farmed, zated, relics by Christmas time, and I'm going to have all 3 Omicrons, all the Zetas, and I'll probably take Grand Inquisitor to like Relic 7 and get him there, and that'll be my end of the year project. But and especially with the new territory battle coming up, I want to have him ready because I want to be the guinea pig for the guild for the Riva mission to see really, like, we're going to get her kit, see how good she looks. I want to be able to test the mission out and all that. But yeah, so GG droids, Sith, and Inquisitors for me. But yeah, it's been busy times here.
Yeah, I think that's it for me.
But yeah, appreciate everyone for stopping by here. For any of you returns people, you guys better be doing your territory battle missions, and I hope you remod. When you're listening back to this, you might have just jumped into a battle and just chose not to remod. But you know what? You should remod. Same thing for all you for any Age and Begins and Eternal people out there. Make your guild leaders happy, your TB officers happy. Remod before you go into the battle. Yeah. But do those combat missions and keep living that barbarian lifestyle.
Yeah. Alrighty, I guess